I was recently called a vicious grifter and self-promoter, apparently because I wore a cowboy hat in a short video I made. In fact, it was this video, which simply pointed out that people are multifaceted and can be more than one thing. And most of the comments were things like, no duh, and isn't this the whole plot of High School Musical? And yes, it is. And it should be no duh, but clearly, it isn't. Because just in the last few weeks, I have seen an openly gay man be told that he isn't queer enough to count. A ranch manager who runs thousands of cattle be told that she isn't a real rancher. And a native Congolese man be told that he isn't black enough. Like, what? Authenticity is a big buzzword right now. In fact, one report by Ernst & Young showed that 92% of Gen Z employees said that authenticity was a major factor in where they chose to work. I think that's fun because authenticity barely even has a functional definition. Like, yes, it means real or genuine, but what does that even mean? Most definitions, including the one I used when I wrote about authenticity, are something to the effect of the alignment of your beliefs, values, words, and actions. And I can see why that's important at work. Nothing is more toxic than a boss who says, "We believe in teamwork and collaboration." And then they turn everything into a competition that pits you against your team. That's inauthentic. Also known as hypocrisy. You can find a lot of examples in politics very easily. Whether it's the Republican congressman who runs on the platform of the importance of family and the sanctity of life, and then pays for his mistress to get an abortion, or the Democratic governor who pleads with their residents to do the right thing and make the sacrifices to resist the temptation to break COVID guidelines, but then goes to a crowded, maskless birthday party at the most luxurious restaurant in town. A depressingly high number of politicians are blatant hypocrites, whose behavior clearly doesn't align with their professed values. Again, that's inauthentic, which is bad. But many of the claims about a lack of authenticity, and especially claims online, are about superficial characteristics like how you dress, what things you like, and even silly mannerisms. Saying that someone isn't a real blank, or isn't gay enough, or isn't black enough, or isn't anything else is just idiotic. It's essentially just the grown-up version of cliques and cliches and bullying from high school, which is why that's the plot of High School Musical. So here's what's going on so you can look for it in yourself. Our brains love boxes. It makes it a lot easier to process large amounts of information quickly if we can sort it into categories. So from a very young age, we start grouping people into categories, even just as simply as safe people versus not safe people. And this is where cliques come from in school. We can't keep track of intricate details of hundreds of different classmates, so instead we lump them into groups based on similarities. Jocks, goths, so on. It doesn't matter what the cliques are. It could be anything. It could be golfers and daredevils. It doesn't matter. It's just groups. People may fall into one group or a bunch of different groups. It's just our brain's way of sorting people and information and then making rules to try to keep us safe. We're safer if we have a group that we fit in with. And if someone from a different group hurts us, we may decide to label that entire group as dangerous or bad because our brains are biased towards safety. But that doesn't stop after high school. We keep sorting people into groups and into safe or dangerous. The groups just change. You may focus on political affiliation, religious belief, nationality, socioeconomic class, or even just having a certain set of values. But there are still times where you may consider someone part of your group or not part of your group based on hobbies or interests or lifestyle, just like when you were a teenager. And it's perfectly normal to form slightly better bonds with people who share a common interest. Gives you something to talk about. Generally speaking, this isn't much of an issue with our coworkers or friends. We learn more about them as time goes on, and when we learn a bit of surprising information, we say something like, "Oh, I didn't know that you liked swimming with sharks. That's so interesting. We may recategorize them slightly, but you would never say that they were inauthentic because they did something that you didn't know about or wouldn't expect. But here's where the internet becomes an issue. On the internet, we only see a tiny slice of who someone is. And not only a thin slice, but a curated, edited slice. Especially on platforms like YouTube, you only see what makes it through the edit. An edit which is intentionally designed to be appealing to a target audience. And that target audience is you. But we take that tiny, intentionally appealing slice and we categorize it. All the people that you like or follow online are people that you have categorized as safe or similar to you for one reason or another. You enjoy that little slice and you start to invest into it. It's called a parasocial relationship, or a relationship with someone who doesn't know you, but you become invested in who you think they are, based on a tiny little sliver that was manufactured to make you like it. But you don't know them. Shoot, I try to be pretty transparent, but you don't know me. Even if someone watches every video I've ever made and reads every post I've put on any social media platform and sees me on stage, live, at an event in person, and meets me for a few minutes after the event, how much do they know about me? Almost nothing, but you've categorized me and put me in a group based on that little bit that you know. So then if your favorite creator does something that deeply contradicts that category that you've put them in, there's some serious cognitive dissonance that goes on. How could they do that? That's so unlike them. That's not the person you know. Except you never really knew them. This can also manifest in the form of gatekeeping. If someone makes content online about rap music and only rap, and then also professes a love of Baroque-era symphonies, die-hard symphony fans might say, well, they aren't a real fan because it doesn't fit with the persona they've crafted. The internet rewards focusing on one thing and specializing in it hard, and it will often serve you more of that thing because the algorithm knows that you like it. But rarely are people so one-dimensional. But that's how you get all the "you aren't a real blank" or "you aren't blank enough to count." Most of the time when people gatekeep like that, it's because deep down they're really insecure.
They know I'm a fraud. The whole bunch.
About themselves, and excluding people from their group makes them feel more secure about their spot in that group. And that's a whole nother complicated topic. But outside of that, true hypocrisy does exist on the internet. There are a lot of people who post about helping people in need even when it's all a setup, or who advocate for a certain diet or lifestyle even though they don't actually live it. Yeah, looking at you, Liver King. Which is also bad. But all of these topics bring up a whole different issue that we're really starting to see on the internet in particular, which is that it's very unforgiving when it comes to personal growth. We now have people who have lived in the public eye on the internet for 15 years or more, and we often don't let them grow. Change is good. Change is authentic. We should all learn and grow and change and become better. If you look back at who you were 10 years ago and you're like, wow, I was better then, you're going the wrong direction. But in today's world, I can say something online that is part of the public record and thousands of people can see it. And then someone can dig back through the internet and find something I said 15 years ago that is the opposite and directly contradicts what I said today. You know where I was 15 years ago? I was a 14-year-old freshman in high school, and I said stupid stuff. There are videos floating around on the internet out there somewhere where I said and did things that I'm not proud of. Does that make me a hypocrite now for saying the opposite? Of course not. That's personal growth. But how many times have we seen someone drudge up an old tweet or Facebook post from ages ago and say, look, this is who so-and-so really is? No, it isn't. That's who they were 15 years ago, which means absolutely nothing. People learn and grow. Let them. People also make mistakes. I fall short of my own standards all the dang time. You probably do too. Falling short of your own professed ideals isn't hypocrisy. It's just humanity. Give yourself and others a little bit of mercy, and together, we can make the world a better place. Since I am a vicious grifter and self-promoter, allow me to indulge in some self-promotion. You can go to my website, dallincooper.com, to get in touch with me about speaking at your school or workplace. You can also find copies of my book and some early stages of merch that we're working on. Okay, bye!